Vroom, 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 vroom. Honk, honk. Get in, losers. We're going struggling. Vroom, 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 vroom. Hey guys, welcome to another ride in the struggle bus, where every wheel is an empty triangle. On today's bus ride, we are playing against a 13K on OGS. I know many of you were expecting my next league game, and I was recording it, but it just got way too complicated, and I just needed to focus on the game, so I stopped recording it and I focused on that game. I did get the win, but it was a tough one. But anyway, we've got this bus ride for us today. And what do we have in store for this one? This one is all about Endgame. And I know that's something that a lot of you guys have asked for in the past. We go over a lot of it in this game. We make it all the way to counting. I go over a lot of Endgame as I'm playing it, and then I focus on it quite a bit in the review, and you'll just see how important Endgame can be. So hopefully you guys are excited for that. Either way, I would like to thank my opponent for playing us today. I'd like to thank you guys for watching these videos, and I'd like to thank my Patreon subscribers for supporting the channel. So anyway, with that introduction out of the way, let's go get into this game. Okay, here we go. We are playing against a 13K on OGS, so hopefully we can focus more on the basics as we go through Fuseki. I'm sure you guys are disappointed that this isn't the next league game, and I had started recording for that league game, but then it got really complicated really early, and I just couldn't concentrate, and I just blue screened. I couldn't talk, so I just stopped recording that. So you guys unfortunately don't get a video out of that one, but we do get what will hopefully be a great bus ride here. And so I'm kind of skipping over Fuseki stuff because you guys, you've watched this, you know what's going on now. You know that we're going over the corners and then the sides and then the center. We know this variation. We play this variation every game. Here, I'm just going to play our little diagonal. I like responding this way. It's nice and simple. Black should probably just extend back to M3. Black could consider R2. With this, we could consider immediately playing L3. Because it kind of threatens the base. But we're not going to do that right now. We're just going to extend from this corner. And then we can look at going after the side here. These two stones, they're perfectly strong. They can fend for themselves, so we didn't need to take an extension on this side. But to keep things simple, that is what we'll do now. We'll even keep it way close. This is much closer than I would normally play for this type of this type of extension, but that is what we're going to do here. Okay, so our friend approaches here, perfectly reasonable. I am going to go approach this corner because this was kind of a big area, and then this left side is the big area, right? We've taken care of the corners, now we're taking care of the sides. Our friend is doing a really good job with that as well. This is probably the next large area, and we'll play here. A very tame game so far. Nobody's really challenged anybody on any of the moves that we've made. We're just kind of we're playing very friendly game of Go here. Not very fighty at all, but that is okay because we need to know how to win those games as well. Our friend plays the shoulder hit. We need to respond to this, otherwise this stone will get isolated. We are not strong enough to consider O16. Those are the two moves that we would typically consider here. And so now we can consider P17 or M17. Both are good in their own way. Which way do we want to go? Let's go play M17. The reason I don't want to play P17 is Black could end up getting Q18. Really don't want them to get that potentially in Sente. Okay, so now our friend attaches to this stone, and just like when we were attached to on top, we have to respond to attachments, or we should respond to attachments. So the question is, should we Hane or should we extend? We're not going to go play the second line. It's too early for second line moves. We still want third and fourth line moves. And in this situation, I don't think we want the cut. So we're just going to extend. And if our friend extends, we can consider the Hane. And that's actually what I'm going to do here. If you can endure the cut, then playing the Hane is typically going to be stronger. In this situation, I think we can extend as well. Black is building up some good potential here, but we can still successfully invade this with something like O13 to limit the amount of territory that Black is getting here. But for a nice calm game, I'm telling you, Black is playing fairly well. I wonder if we should play some challenging moves to see how they handle them. This move we probably don't need to respond to, but I will respond to it in this situation because it does create some weakness. So let's challenge our friends just a little bit because this is something important that they will need to learn how to navigate through, and that is this very typical invasion point for this shape. So Black will typically just play on top. So Black plays here. That's going to be a little tricky because now this stone is going to be isolated. We can look at jumping. We can look at just extending. Typically, I like the jump here. Just it moves a little faster. If Black wedges, then we can Atari. The downside of moving faster, of course, is now when Black plays here, we can't play this high. So we'll just go play this. Threatens the cut, makes good shape, and now we can play here, continuing to get good shape, and this reduces Black fairly well. But Black did a really good job with this. It probably would have been better for me to play here, so that when Black played this, we threatened to capture the stone and then connect. That would have been the more proper way to do this, but I'm glad to see that Black responded this way. So what are we going to do here? We are going to extend one more time, and if Black pushes, we'll probably extend again. The Black should strongly consider the Hane here, though it actually would be in hindsight, a little dangerous. So we are just going to extend. Black pushes, we'll extend again, and then we can look at eventually playing the Hane, but we're not going to be able to do it here. I want to play this double Hane, but it doesn't work. So we will just extend. Black can push one more time. Or not. Black can also Tanuki here. I'd be real impressed if our friend Tanuki's here. They do Tanuki, and what a great Tanuki this is. Very impressed with this move because we were looking to get some good potential in here. And if our friend had played this, I may have ignored this to play a move very similar to this. Very sharp play from our friend here. Very happy to see this move. So I think we do need to protect our center. It's really all we have for points is this corner and the center, and and the top. But I think Black is probably up on points right now. So unfortunately, Black has played a small move here, so that gives us some timing to go and get more territory or influence. Basically, we have Sensei here now, and so it's a little unfortunate. This is one way we can start losing games is when we have timing to play good moves and we go and play slow moves. In this situation, I think J7 is just too large to ignore. If we had played here first, if we had played J8 first, and then our friend played K7, I would absolutely respond to this move. And so that's kind of the situation we have now, right? And so I'm absolutely going to respond to this move and try to turn this into some territory. And Black plays there. Is that Sente? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. But we will. We will extend, see if Black can find a move, maybe like H16. That's reasonable. That is a reasonable move because this is probably the largest potential left for Black on this board. So what do we want to do now? We should probably look to reduce this as much as we can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by playing P17 because that's going to force this. And then we can play Q18. Black cannot Hane here. And so now we've got that reduction. And so now what are we going to do? What are we going to do to invade this? Well, Black's pretty secure there with a lot of strength on either side. And so we can draw a line between these two stones kind of as a sector line. And so here's the way I approach this. If you guys think you're losing, you can go and jump right in. Jump as deep in as you think you can potentially maybe get away with. So we could consider a move like this if we're losing. If we're even, we can play right on the sector line, and if we think we're winning, we can play outside the sector line. But I think it's probably most normal to play right on the sector line. So we'll just play right here and see what kind of reduction we can get. Since we aren't behind enemy lines, black really can't consider something like L13. I like this move quite a bit. I do like this move. I'm going to play here. It threatens this cut. So black probably needs to slide back. And now it's worth noticing, team. It's worth noticing we now are behind enemy lines. Our opponent has moved the sector line on us. So what can we not do? We can't jump in further. We just can't. We'll end up dying. We need to not be greedy. We now need to get out of here. Okay? We get in. Our opponent did some forcing moves to get some more strength. And it's time to get out. And then our friend plays this Hane. I'm not sure how I feel about that one. These 3 stones still aren't in trouble because if black tries to cut, we've got the ladder. So we can now play this peep. And often peeps will get us in trouble because you don't want to play a peep because this makes black stronger. So you don't want to play a peep unless it does something for you. But it really gives us fantastic shape here. Now we've got a strong group. So now we can dive in. So black probably needs to consider something like O13 directly or more likely P13. But now black is saying, no, I'm going to keep on surrounding you. You're not going to get away from this that easily. And so I like that. So we will back off and make sure that our group is not going to get surrounded, not going to get in trouble. There is a potential cut here that black needs to be a little concerned about, but maybe not, because black can connect up with these 2 stones. So let's see. I was just going to say, I really want black to play H10, and black did. So this has now transitioned into what I call mutual destruction. We both had a pretty big area that was going to turn into a lot of points, and I dove into theirs, and instead of defending this, our opponent said, nope, I'm going to dive into yours as well. So we can just keep on going. And so I am going to play here, I think, just doing some quick... No, I don't need to read. We're too much reading. We just need to play the good shape moves. We know that this is going to be okay. So now we can play this Hane. Black should probably cut, but extending is perfectly fine. We will now connect. And we see that we've massively reduced what black had here, but black's also massively reducing what we've got here. So now the question is, where do we think there's more potential? Here or taking this turn? I am unsure, but I will reward black with some solid play and answer black's move because I like how black is handling this. This doesn't threaten the cut because black can push. We can block. If black cuts, we Atari, and they are already netted. We actually, not only do we not have to respond to this, if black tries to cut, once we Atari and extends, they're already netted. So a little unfortunate here. This is the kind of peep we don't want to see, especially since it actually isn't Sente. It actually isn't Sente. So we're just gonna go take a small move and see how black handles this. Black should give this 1 stone up. They don't. That is okay. That is okay. So what are we going to do now? We'll go play... We're just going to go play the big moves that are on the board. So Q3 is a really big follow-up here. This is getting into Endgame, but it's really big Endgame. And we will extend again because second line moves are really big in Endgame. But yeah, this was a very calm game. But I really like how black played it early. Black's spending a lot of moves now that aren't really doing too much. Unfortunately, these 2 moves in particular are quite small when there are moves like F18 still on the board. This is a very, very, very large move compared to just blocking this off. It even comes up with this Sente follow-up. And now we connect, and black needs to fix this. And now we have this big second line move, which makes a very big corner here. And we can probably play this because there is, I believe, enough room for the net to work. So black will need to protect. If you're unfamiliar with the net, let's just pretend that black didn't connect. It might look like in this situation that black is okay because black connects to the friends over there. But when we get to here, we can actually just play this net and black will end up dying. So black did need to connect there, or protect rather. And so where are our next big moves? We'll find the next big endgame move, which is this second line move here with this first line follow-up. Same thing. This stone will need to be protected. And now, which is bigger, R18 or K15? I don't know. The corner's got to be bigger. Corner's got to be bigger, right? It's the corner. It's the corner. And it follows, and it threatens the follow-up at S17, which is a really large move. Okay, sure, we will connect. And, sure, we will connect here. These stones are not going to be in any danger, especially with this move available. So we will play this move to grow our potential up here, or points at this point in time. It's not even really potential, while also looking to link these stones up. But these stones can also run out. There's plenty of room for these stones. They are not in trouble, especially with this turn. Okay. So I don't like this shape, but it's what we're going to play here. It's ugly, especially when black gets J5. Okay. We will block this. Look to build this up. And at this point in time, we're pretty much just fully firming up our borders. Yep, we will block this. A5 is really big for black. Yep, unfortunately, back to the small moves. S17 is quite big. I'm going to see if black can find either Q1 or S17. We're just going to play A5, which is a large enough move in its own right. But yeah, black is just a little very strong in the opening. Black's very strong in the opening. Little weak on the end game, and that is fine. We all have our strengths and weaknesses as Go players. That's one of the fun things about Go is your overall strength is kind of just like the combination of all your relative strengths and weaknesses. And so that is true for everybody. Okay. So at this point, we'll go over we'll focus on endgame in this review. That's something that you guys have mentioned wanting to see more of. And so let's see if I can actually do that in this game. So this is one I would normally skip ahead, but let's not do that because we're going to be focusing on endgame in this review. So let's go through proper endgame. So we want to be looking for Sente moves, reverse Sente moves, and then big Gote moves. In this case, Q1 is reverse Sente because it's Sente for black, which means it's reverse Sente for us. So we'll go play P1. This is going to end in Gote for us. Black does not need to protect this stone. But maybe they do because this would be an annoying move. And really there's not much Sensei left because we kind of played it all. So we'll go over it in the review. So at this point in time, I'm just looking for the big Gote moves potentially. Well, that's Sensei, so we definitely need to respond to that. There's a double Atari that we need to protect. We've got Q11 as a potential Sensei move, so let's go play that. Though this is definitely Sensei. So we'll play this as reverse Sensei. I'll go over these terms in the review as well. Okay, yep. That is expected. Black should probably connect. Though black could play black's gonna go that way. Well, this is probably actually just bigger. because F9 was a thing. But I'll definitely take the stone now if you're just gonna let me have it. Well, not here. No, no, no. I'll block that. I'll definitely block that. But now if you let me take the stone, yeah, we'll take the stone. We'll take the stone, and we will connect here because there was. I'm surprised Black didn't follow that up. There was a little bit of Aji there. We'll take this Atari. Do this. We've got A6 and T16. Is that pretty much it? I think that's pretty much it. So we'll push. We'll go over this move too. We'll go over all the end game. Maybe we'll just skip right to the end game. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, we'll push again. And we'll Hane here. And we will connect. Oh, and then I missed one here. And this was reverse sensei though, so I was probably bigger than the other, bigger than this, but we'll see. Okay, so they passed. That's fine. We'll just take this 1 point, and then I will pass if they pass. They pass. We pass. Well, whoops, yep, that one. Okay, now we'll pass. Maybe he moved and I didn't see it. So we have the end of the game now. Pretty big win. Mainly because of the slow moves that our friend played. So let's go into the review and see where our friend could have done better, especially in the end game. Okay, so here we are in the review. And honestly, our friend did really well at the beginning of the game. And the AI graph confirms that. The game was really nice and even as we were getting into endgame. But then it was just, basically like -3 points every single move. And so it added up to a big win. But the beginning of this game, our friends played this excellently. This is all great. I like playing this better. If we play here, it does invite white to play this, which is a little annoying. I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure what black would want to do here. Maybe just jump out. But it seems less than ideal, but not a big mistake. I like all of this. I think our friends played all of this really well. Here, I probably would just push this way and go and take the outside this way. This push doesn't really matter. These stones are going to be strong enough by themselves. White probably needs to do this anyway, and then black could come back, because if white goes here, black gets this, and this just doesn't look good for white. So anyway, but yeah, this move seems reasonable too. I think it probably would have been bigger to attach, or maybe come over here, or look to invade here. But this is not a terrible. This is all actually just reasonable. This is probably the first move I just legitimately don't like in the game, because it's just a little too small. So we can treat this as, a mid-game, like, where would we play here? And so we have to look and, are there any weak groups on the board? And then where's the big potential? And so when I look at this, I see a few areas of big potential. There's some potential here. There's some big potential here. And there's some big potential here. So I think the left side of the board is probably where I would focus. And in terms of weaknesses, these two stones are probably the weakest linked stones on the board. So I would consider a move like this to grow the potential here, and to fix that weakness. We could also consider, something over here, even if it's just as simple as this. The only issue here is that if white wants to start going on the outside, though I don't think this would work. It would be more of if we play something like, I don't know, let's just say that this happens. And then all of a sudden black starts making mistakes here, and we have to do this. Now all of a sudden we're getting strength, which will make an invasion at C12. Of course, this is a bad exchange, but this is just something we have to be careful for. So this one was just a little small, and then connecting here. So then we go and take the big move, and then I mentioned in the game that extending would have been better for me, because if black plays underneath to try to connect, we get this, and the stone gets disconnected. So this is if you want to get in and out quickly, but black found the mistake immediately. Again, fantastic job. This is just a good job. Black is playing very strong in the opening, and I love this move. I think this move is great. Just a fantastic move. And so we get back to some slower moves. But I want to jump ahead. Let's talk about this a little bit. I actually like this. I like this approach from black. Here, I do think it's probably time to do this. Maybe, I don't know. I actually don't know. For this, how would I respond to this? I might just ignore it, honestly, and try for something like this. I like how black handled this. This is a tough move to answer. This is just legitimately a tough move to answer. And I think black did well with it. Here, though, I think I am just tempted to do this. Just block this off. It does give white this, though. But then black can find the timing to do something like this, as long as black is confident that they can do something here. But there are enough weaknesses in white's shape that, maybe we can get there. So this is where I'd say the game probably started falling off a little bit, but it is worth noting that right here, move 81. AI says that, well, when I looked, AI said that white was only up by Comey here. Very close game, but this is where things started going downhill because since this was a very calm game, very peaceful game, no fighting, it really comes, in those types of games, Endgame pops up really early on us. It's move 81, but you can see we're pretty much already in Endgame. There's really nowhere to invade at this point in time. So when we get into Endgame, there's a hierarchy of moves that you're looking for. We want to find, first and foremost, moves that are double sente. That means they're sente if you play them, they're sente if your opponent plays them. We'll show you examples of that. If there are no double sente moves, you want to find the big sente moves that your opponent has to respond to. If there are no sente moves, you want to find moves that are reverse sente. And what reverse sente is if you play it, it's gote, but if your opponent had played it, it would have been sente. So it takes a sente away from them. It's a gote move, but it removes a sente move from your opponent. And then last but not least, last and least, gote moves, right? Then if you don't have any double sente, or reverse sente, you want to find the largest gote move on the board. So if, for black here, we would want to find big sente moves. So we could play something like E18, because if we don't respond here, the monkey jump's going to come in and cause a lot of damage. And so then we would block. This is sente. We would block, connect, and then that's sente, so we need to connect. And then black could do the same thing here. And we block and Haneg, block, Atari, connect. And then we could push here, and we'd have to block. And then black could threaten this. This might not be sente, though. White might ignore this. So maybe it would be better to play here. Because if this is going to be gote, then this is larger gote and has a good follow-up. Or we could play here, right? Because this is potentially sente, probably is. And this is actually this is probably reverse sente. Because if black plays here, white's going to want to answer. So white answers, black plays here, white answers, and black gets sente. As where if black had just played something like this and now white plays here, now black wants to answer. And so this would actually be an example of double sente. So I had missed that one originally. Though I guess they're all kind of double sente, because they're all the same exact situation. They are all situations where we've got dueling third line stones here, right? So whoever gets to descend first gets them. So since it's black's turn, black can get like all these big sente moves, right? Black can play here and get all of this. Well, not this one. And then nope. This one, yep, we block. And then black does this exchange. And you can see that black has done a great job of finding like all these great sente moves. And then maybe black can play here and push in. Right? And now black maybe goes, okay, I don't see any more sente moves. So let's go play the biggest gote move. And is that R18? Is that R2? I honestly don't know. But I think R2 is probably a little bigger. So this is what black could do. And I just want to show an example. So score estimator often lies to us, but score estimator here says white is winning by 1. Let's see what happens if instead of this, black plays a pass move, and then white gets all these moves. So let's just say here that black just connects, okay? And now it's white's turn to get all of these big sente moves. Now all of a sudden, hopefully score estimator will not betray us, but I am not holding my breath. And now white gets to play here. Now when we run score estimator, it says white is up by 8. And I know that is not a lot, right? Like that is not a big difference. But it kind of is, right? This is a close game. And if you find the timing to get these sente moves, all of a sudden you get 7 more points. And often it's more than that. And you want to know what? I think score estimator is probably a little off here. I think each of these exchanges is worth a handful of points. So I think it's going to turn closer to like a 12-point difference. But anyway, so we push, black blocks, and then yeah, black plays this small move, which we are then able to go and play a big endgame move, and then another big endgame move, and another big endgame move, and then black plays here instead of a big endgame move, and we get the next big endgame move, and then the next big endgame move. Right? So you miss the timing on that, and now all of a sudden white gets all these moves. And if we check score estimator now, let's see. Now white's up by 17. That feels a little more accurate, and that's mainly because of these 2 moves. Black could have played like a 4 or 5-point move, but instead played those 2 moves and probably lost 10 points on these 2 moves. But yeah, so letting us get all of the sente hurt, and then this is kind of another pass move, as is this one, right? If we look at where points are left on this board, black still has this as a sente move, and then this as a big move. But before that, black has this as a sente move, right? And then this as a big move. These are all bigger than this. If white plays here, it's like whatever. I guess maybe it's not whatever. Maybe it's not whatever, team, huh? If white plays here, black needs to connect. So maybe this is a little more annoying than I thought it was. Okay. I'll buy what you're selling. Black. But yeah, that's pretty much what I saw in this one. There's still, black's still playing some pretty small endgame, right? This is a very small endgame move. Again, we've got Q1, A5, S18, F14 are all big endgame moves. This is a 1-point move. This gets black 1 more point. And same here. This gets black 1 more point. As where a move like this is potentially 6 points or so. I haven't done the math on it, but it is a fairly large move. So yeah, so unfortunately black just lost a lot in the end game, because again, at move 81, the game was pretty much even, and now we're exactly 50 moves later, and it is white by 30, and that's just been from endgame. So that's a kind of a case point that shows that sometimes endgame is just really, really important. So anyway, that's where we're going to leave this one today. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Either way, thanks for coming out for another end of the struggle bus where every wheel is an empty triangle. Have a good one, guys.